Hello and welcome to the Portugal Air Summit and Air Race Championships, one of the largest aviation events in Portugal and a unique fixture on the European Airshow circuit. The Portugal Air Summit brings together a small selection of aerial displays and 2 classes of racing action, as well as seminars, music performances and a ground exhibition hall. And best of all, admission is free. This is the best of the action from the last 3 days of the 2019 event held at Ponte de Sor, 70 kilometres northeast of Lisbon. Let's take a look at the running order, and it is a short one. Aerosparx, the Yak Stars, the brilliant Team Raven, then we're into the evening acts featuring Castor Fantoba in his S02E04. There was more last year, but the weather is keeping the water-bombing aircraft busy, and the Air Force are on a bit of a tight budget. First, a look at the air racing action. The racing saw multiple aircraft fly around a circular track and individual runs down a chicane course, which is what we're looking at now. This is Jeremy Taylor of Great Britain in his Cap 231. Joining me at the show and behind the microphone is Alex Prinz. Alex, thank you for joining me. What are your thoughts and memories on the Portugal Air Summit 2019?
Well, it was one of the hottest airshow weekends I've ever been to, although there wasn't much cause to stand out in the sun for long, as it was very much a case of quality, not quantity at this airshow. Several stunning displays, but few and far between over the course of the whole weekend.
Well, hot it certainly was, topping 40 degrees centigrade during the day and around 15 degrees cooler for the evening show, which we'll look at later. Aerosparx were a key part of that evening show, as you'd expect, but it's their daytime performance we look to now, which they start with 11 consecutive formation loops.
Yeah, in a display that's all about energy management, the Aerosparx display is really second to none in that. The grace of the Grob aircraft is quite superb.
The wingtip smoke you see during the display comes from Enola Gay. They provide smoke in several colours, and Guy Westgate, the team leader, says that this is the best, most intense airshow smoke effect he's found in all his time on the airshow circuit. And you see it here hanging in the air in these very hot, still weather conditions. Doing a fantastic job with those tiny 90 horsepower engines in quite severe heat, which is further sapping the performance away as Aerosparx now enter the low level section of the display. The Yak Stars now perform a 3-ship aerobatic display with their Yak 52s. If you watched last year's programme, which was, I think, Series 1, Episode 5, you may find this routine very familiar. But the team do actually have a 4th aeroplane now. The plan is to fly 4 ships imminently, although, to my knowledge, I don't think they've reached that milestone quite yet.
Well, you can't go far wrong with a 3-ship of Yaks, and this was a superb tight formation display with some very interesting breaks. Although as good as the formation was, there were several lengthy breaks during the display as the aircraft repositioned, including most notably after their takeoff, when there was a lull of a good few minutes while the crowd were left wondering where the aircraft had even gone to.
And stand by for a lovely opposition break. The Yak 52 was designed as a training and aerobatic aircraft in Russia in the 1970s, but more recently it's become an exceptionally popular aircraft in the West. And as proof of its success, there are a huge number of aerobatic teams using the type: the Yakovlevs, Yak Italia, Yakov 52, the Yak Stars, and even some that don't have the word Yak in their name as well, Ambo for example. The Yak 52 also served with a dozen or so military operators, usually in the training role, but there is an armed version, the Yak 52B, which is fitted with two UB-3257 rocket pods, each capable of carrying up to 32 air-to-ground S5 rockets. Time for the Raven display team, who provided a typically energetic and varied routine with their 5 RV-8s, and some of the manoeuvres you're about to see are probably not performed by any other similarly equipped aerobatic team in the world. And because we've got a lighter schedule than usual and still 20 minutes to fill, we can try something we don't usually do in this series and actually talk to one of the pilots. So let's go now to Raven 1, Simon Sid Shirley.
My name is Simon Sid Shirley, and I'm the team leader of Team Raven, which is a 5-ship formation aerobatic team. Number 2 is Steve Lloyd, number 3 is Barry Gwinnett, number 4 is Gerald Williams, and number 5 is Mark Southern. Our ethos really is to try and put something in front of the crowd at all times, know what we call dead time. So what we don't want to be doing is going away crowd left or right, changing formation like some American teams and then coming back 2 minutes later. So we always try and keep something in front of the crowd, and we try and mix it up. So we do some formation aerobatics with 5s, 3s, 4s, split, opposition stuff, so something always in front of the crowd for the 13 minutes we're on.
One thing that is interesting to note, Simon Shirley, who we've just spoken to, taught several of his wingmen how to fly formation aerobatics, those being Steve Lloyd, Gerald Williams and Barry Gwinnett, and that makes Mark Southern the only team pilot not to have been trained up by their current leader.
First time in Portugal, so it's another country that we've ticked off our kind of large portfolio of Europe in display terms. It's certainly the hottest one we've been to. It's a very well organised and very interesting summit. There's a lot of stuff going on here. We've never seen air racing before, a lot of corporate stuff. And it's the first time, as I said, that we've displayed in this heat, which we have found challenging. Because the aircraft are literally at the limit of their performance in terms of the engine power. So we've had to not change our routine, but I've had to change a couple of things in the way I fly as the leader to give the other 4 an easier time. But no, we've really, really enjoyed it. It's a well organised, well run event, and we'd like to come back.
Alex, I turn to you at this point because I saw Team Raven at the Midlands Air Festival, which is episode 2 of this series, 2 weeks before this show in Portugal, and I told you then that they were hugely entertaining, and I was met with skepticism, cynicism, derision even, but I get the feeling you've very much changed your mind now.
Well, I did struggle to get enthusiastic about a formation of RVs, but I must say that Team Raven well and truly knocked my socks off. It was an entertaining display throughout, their formation pieces were brilliant, and their twizzles were entertaining as well. A more genial bunch of pilots you'd be hard-pressed to meet, and they really do know how to display the RV to good effect.
It certainly is a very entertaining routine, and we'll see more of the Ravens later in the programme as well from a totally different angle and in even better lighting conditions. But for now, look out for the next manoeuvre, which is the opposition brake. You'll notice the camera is slightly offset from crowd centre, so from show centre this looks even better. And of course, what airshow is complete without a heart? The RV-8, like the Yak 52, is a very popular aircraft on the airshow circuit, flown by the likes of Team Rocket, the Fireflies, the West Coast Ravens, Team Aerodynamics, Redline, the Lightning Formation Team, and several others as well. And it's easy to see why it's so popular. These aeroplanes are powerful, fast, reasonably aerobatic, and cheaper to operate than many other aircraft of similar performance. Team Raven now come towards the end of their display and run in for the final bomb burst. Aerosparx now roll for takeoff in preparation for the evening portion of the show, but we turn first to the Sukhoi Su-26M of Castor Fantoba.
As someone used to displays with the UK regulations, it was interesting to see just how low Castor got during his display, and I must say the timing to music was utterly superb. The combination of classical music and high-energy aerobatics, though unlikely, was absolutely perfect on this occasion.
It was another display of the highest quality, and one which we'll let you watch uninterrupted, accompanied by the Blue Danube of 1866 by the Austrian composer Johann Strauss. Aerosparx returned to close the show for an integrated ground and air display featuring aeroplanes, lights, drones, and, after landing, a live orchestra as well. But it's not with this that we choose to end our programme. We will instead go back in time to the Friday practices when we got some fantastic footage of Team Raven from the middle of the display box, filmed in some absolutely stunning late evening light. It's been a somewhat slower paced programme than usual, but nonetheless, we hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you again from Poland very shortly. But until then, from Alex Prins and from me, Adam Landau, it's goodbye for now.